Okay, one more step in the repair process here for this 365 Husqvarna here. Now, this is something that happens on all saws. It doesn't really matter regardless of the brand. Still, Husqvarna, you name it, Dolomar, Johnson Red. All the saws with their restricted or chokeback mufflers generate a lot of heat. So in the process, your top covers here, where they have at the front here, that this is of course the cover is laying. This is your right side up here. Your muffler obviously underneath here, and from the factory they've got this this foil stuff here. It's just aluminum. It's just aluminum foil, basically like an HVAC ducting type foil, which I have a roll of it here. Same stuff. Now for a little piece of foil like this, it's an adhesive foil what they use, and you can buy it in rolls, big roll, small roll. Big rolls are expensive, but you can get a small roll just for doing repairing a couple of pipes in your basement and your HVAC. But it's the same stuff that they use in these, or pretty much the same stuff they use in these. They use it as a heat deflector to keep the heat away from the plastic. Now all I did was I cleaned up the old cover here. This was filthy. All the underside of this cover was just coated with crap, like most saws that aren't maintained or looked after. On the front here, I went over and over and over it. Cleaned it with brake clean. Got all the down to nice dry clean plastic. And over here it was actually burnt black a little bit from the muffler. That's how hot it got in its course of lifetime. And I see that happen to a lot of saws. They'll literally get a spot. So I just take a kind of a round grinding stone on my little Dremel there, and I just literally go over this lightly to get rid of all that charred burnt plastic to get it back. Now if you're doing this, be careful you don't poke a hole through your cover, because sometimes they're burnt so thin or whatever that they will go right through the cover. This one was just bubbled up a little bit here and burnt black in a little spot here, about an inch or inch and a half. Yeah, about an inch by 2 inch little strip here that was kind of scorched here. So I just took and buffed all that burnt old black plastic off there and cleaned it up, and then, like I say, sprayed it down several times. I wiped it with a clean rag here and got this now prepped. Now all I'm going to do is take and like I say, this foil has got a wax paper backing. You just take and you peel this off, like so, get the paper off, and then the other side is the adhesive side. So now what I'm going to do is just lay this in here. Sorry folks, I'm kind of to make it good for you to see. It's not so good for me to see, but I'll try my best here. Now what I like to do is to lay it usually just a little bit over the outer edge, and then kind of roll it up, because that edge always seems to get burnt on these covers. It does. Come on. Now I like to go a little wider than what they originally allowed for. Get it started, and then start tucking it in. You got to work these seams and these edges. Now, like I say, I like to leave a little bit stick out past the edge of the cover, just a little bit, like maybe 1/8 of an inch. And once you start working this foil in, initially it doesn't like to stick that well, but once you do get it to stick, this stuff actually has some kind of a weird, it's not real sticky to the touch, but yet once you work it in here, it really gets in, it really adheres itself, so it does a pretty good job. You can see here I got it all the way. Now, like I say, I like to get it, they only, from the factory, they only cover like a little block or a little patch here. On these 365, 372s, I like to go kind of all the way over, halfway up the one side over here, on the which would be your left hand starter side, because they do get scorched quite a ways. You can see where they'll make a heat bubble in the plastic, so they get hot for quite a ways up the cover there to the sides. And then this stuff is kind of hard to work with. It wrinkles very easy. It's easy to get little air pockets in it, but that you just work it like I'm doing here, back and forth with your fingernail, and just get all the where they have a little molding seam or something like that there. You just get in there with your fingernail and you just work it in, work it in, work it in, and don't be afraid. Like if it's like I say, I like to work it in the best I can. Don't be afraid to. You can rub it down pretty hard with your thumb or your fingers, or use a little soft plastic, whatever, something from an auto body tool or something like that. Whatever works pretty good on these things too, or whatever. It's just mostly though, you gotta be careful because you can perforate or rip these. This foil. It is just a thin aluminum foil after all, but and there you go, just like that. It's in there, and this will not come unglued. That will stay there. Now, if you want, you can actually run a second. What sometimes I'll do is I'll cut a half strip and run a second bead around on the outside lip edge here, where the last half inch or 3/4 of an inch here all along, because this is where all these saw covers take a beating. They really get exposed to heat bad. Now, if you have any little bit of excess that sticks over a little too far, you just take a box cutter knife or a little X-Acto trimmer knife or some sort, and just trim your edges, and that's it. That's all there's to it. Now, I'm going to probably go ahead and, because, like I say, I'm fussy about this kind of stuff. I like to add a second layer or whatever over here along the front, and what I'll do is I'll take and cut another fairly long strip. I'll cut it in half and then lay it in here and glue it on top of this one, and it works. That one will adhere to the other one. Now, you want to have your, like I say, your plastics have to be clean and free of oils and grease or saw dirt and all that kind of stuff, like I say. So you gotta spend a fair bit of time on these covers if you want to get them to get them cleaned up. And if your covers are still in good shape, there's nothing wrong, folks, with doing this. It's a good way of protecting your investment, so to speak, because these covers aren't cheap anymore. Replacements are, all that stuff, like everything else, is getting pretty pricey. So, but anyways, there you go. I'm going to add another little strip, a second layer, so to speak, or a barrier strip there, and that should keep this cover going for a long time yet. So, one more step in the, like I say, in the process of getting this saw, well, doing the kind of stuff that I like doing on it to get any saw that I work on, to get them in shape and get them in a better serviceable state that'll last a long time for me.